Hello and welcome. This is Abigail bringing to you the news and events in Meghalaya from Don Bosco Media Network. Here are the headlines for today. Positive response from the Governor on to MRSSA and ILP issue. The state government should intervene in the university matter, expresses the Meghalaya Confederation for Academic Welfare. Former Meghalaya Chief Minister Dr. Mukul M. Sangma expresses concern over the disappearance of extracted coal in West Janta Hills district, and former Meghalaya legislator Ardent M. Basayomot still favours implementation of inner line permit in the state. And now the news in detail. Speaking to the media after meeting the Governor, the Meghalaya Chief Minister informed that they had a fruitful discussion with the Governor relating to the present issue of ILP implementation and also on the Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act. The Chief Minister informed that the Governor will be going to Delhi on the 17th to meet the Home Minister and other leaders to discuss the matter. The Governor assured the Chief Minister that he will take up these issues with the Ministry of Home Affairs at an appropriate time. The Chief Minister also informed that the Umling entry point will be inaugurated on the 16th December and with tourism to be started on the 21st December. The state will also witness the first direct flight from Delhi to Shillong, which will be operational twice a week. He also informed that the flight is not a small one, but it is a 72-seaters flight.
We've discussed this in detail, and the Honourable Governor will be going post 17th of December to Delhi, and he'll be meeting the Honourable Home Minister and other leaders to discuss this matter. So we hope that we'll be able to find a positive way forward in this. Now, it's not about clarification. He has seen the entire file and he's seen the entire bill, and he feels that it is something that is doable and possible. And but at the same time, he feels that this matter still needs to be discussed with the centre, because there were certain concerns earlier, and because of that, this bill did not go through at that point in time. So therefore, it will only be appropriate to discuss it with centre, with MHA specifically, and that's what he will be doing. So I think it's a very positive message that he has given to me, and he said that he will definitely do his best to discuss with them and try to move them. The Umling entry point will be inaugurated on the 16th of December. I'll be going myself to inaugurate it, and as we are going to start the tourism from 21st, so it will be activated by then. So that is the latest. At the same time, for the tourism, when we start on 21st, I'm also happy to inform all of you, the first flight from Delhi to Shillong will also start on the 21st. So the airlines have confirmed, and we're hopeful that the flight will start on 21st, and I'll also be there on 23rd also, and then we will ensure that at least once up to twice a week the flight from Delhi to Shillong directly will be operational. But the first flight will be on the 21st of December. The flight is 72-seater flight. It's more than an ATR. It's a Q400 flight. It's a turboprop, of course, but it's more enhanced and more advanced than the ATRs, and it will be direct flight straight from Shillong to Delhi dedication.
Former Meghalaya Chief Minister Dr. Mukul M. Sangma today expressed deep concern over the disappearance extracted coal in West Janta Hills district, which was not claimed by miners. Addressing media in Shillong, Dr. Sangma said that the 1.41 lakh metric ton of unclaimed extracted coal was found in West Janta Hills district, which was duly recorded by the West Janta Hills administration. Referring to this coal, Dr. Sangma said the then unclaimed extracted coal has suddenly dwindled and is now left with only 20,000 metric ton. He said the state government should be accountable for the disappearance of the unclaimed extracted coal, as this has incurred a revenue loss to the state exchequer. People engaged in the illegal selling to the unclaimed extracted coal should be punished under relevant laws of the land.
And the Deputy Commissioner and the Divisional Mining Officers have counted those lots. The total counted lots, which represent each truck load, was 1,064. Countersigned by the DC and handed over to me. Countersigned by both DC and DMO. Is it not an evidence that I have provided in the floor of the House through my submission? Because on the order of the Deputy Commissioner concerned, the officers were directed to verify the quantity have given a report in the month of June. Official communication, which was made available through RTI by one RTI activist who submitted the representation to the Chief Secretary with a copy to me. based on which I have responded to my call of duty and gone along with friends from media as well. Now, that report says that there are 141,000 metric ton of coal in those indicated areas. But when we went, there are only 1,064 truckloads. You calculate, multiply it by 10 or 15. Less than 20,000 metric ton. So where have the rest of the coal gone? There are two things that has happened. One is violation of MMDR Act 1957, which amounts to the illegal mining, and another thing is violation of the NGT ban. Another one is stealing of the coal from that area and sending without paying royalty to the state. 141,000 metric ton has been reduced to only less than 20,000 metric ton. Where have the coal gone? I have said that is only the tip of the iceberg. Is it not an evidence? Do I have to file an FIR to say that, okay, this is an evidence? It is their job to file an FIR to recover the money from all those who have engaged in this corruption. If they are not doing it, then we know who is doing it. That's simple. It's simple. If the government doesn't do, then it indicates, it gives a clear-cut answer. So you can find the answer. If they don't do it, they should file an FIR. Recover the money from those. Make it good to the state exchequer. And proceed against those criminals as per MMDR Act 1957 and again as per the other relevant CRPC and IPC. Because there is a criminal conspiracy involved. It cannot happen by one man alone.
The demand for the implementation of ILP by NGOs in the state continues to intensify as the days go by. Today, the East Janta Hills district witnessed the FKJGP, KSU, HNYF, JSU taking to the streets to voice their demand for ILP. They held a rally which began from the grounds of the Clariot Parish and ended at the memorial statue of Kyang Nangba. In the gathering that was chaired by Shri Srimli Nyangti, the president of KSU Clariot Circle, held at the memorial statue of Kyang Nangba, there were many speakers who spoke in support of ILP. Chief among them was Shri Edmund Sumer, President Federation of Village Elders East Jaintia, Shri D.S. War, Chief Organizing Secretary FKJGP Jaintia Hills Zone, Shri Pinchai Rani Publicity Secretary Central Body KSU, Shri Lening Rat, Organizing Secretary KSU Jaintia Hills District Unit, Shri Meryl Sutting, President FKJGP East Jaintia Hills District Unit, and Shri Julius Nongtudu, President HNYF Clariot Circle. These speakers unanimously affirmed the effectiveness of ILP in controlling influx and streamlining the travelling and movements of tourists and outsiders. They urge upon the public to support the cause by participating in the movement demanding the implementation of ILP in the state. The rally was also marked by burning of effigies representing the CAA and the NDA as a mark of condemnation of the central government's implementation of CAA in the country, allowing influx of immigrants from other countries.
Sorkar Meghalaya, the Kidalai Podali, how you come, your Modi, your Mitsa, and the M like a Jimpin Bit, Yaginom Mikmat Yogi, Niba, 11 Jimpin Bit, Wayogi, Dangi Jimpin Bit Yaki, Hamre, Hachwak Christmas, the Kamo was never dead, and the Jinkula, Yag Sorkar Meghalaya, but the Brew, but the Notice Europe. Wah, di pilihan saya juga pi, iu bergerak pi, CEO, ino yang ILP, benda no CA, handai makan pun, benda ki ILP ini CA, sekarang benda, high four, ibu tuan, kejilan pi, oleh sistem, mengupoi cawan, but jarang kat, wah kini kejut kini kelam, COVID-19. Penduduk borgo, ya kejintawa yang bagaimana kamu kejintawa, ya kesing balang, bagaimana beriunya terberi rogawi. Kalau kamu kau dah mikir dayu kenika, kekejut, dapat kau jajai, kamte ili an gidi chen wa usdan no I
The Meghalaya Confederation for Academic Welfare MECAW today held an urgent meeting to express their dissatisfaction over the incumbent Nehru Vice-Chancellor's tactics to extend his post in the university. Speaking at the meeting today, Shri Roy Kupar Sindrem, convener of MECAW, informed that the Vice-Chancellor wants to extend his tenure by changing the statutory rule, which according to the 2014 letter from Ministry of Education, it states that the acting Vice-Chancellor has no authority at all to do it. The present Vice-Chancellor is just a caretaker Vice-Chancellor, not a full-fledged Vice-Chancellor. Furthermore, he said the state government is supposed to have one representative in any statutory body. It cannot skip itself from intervening into the matter of the university, and the state government should come forward to intervene into the matter of since Nehru is in the jurisdiction of the state. According to Professor Lakhon Kumar, the president of Meghalaya Tribal Teachers Association, Nehru, the action of the Vice-Chancellor is highly illegal, for he has no authority to change any statutory rule since he is on a one-year extension and he is supposed to be only the caretaker. He has no power to change any rule that will benefit himself. And this is debarred by several rules. To name one is the 2014 letter of the Ministry of Education, which states that an officer appointed to perform current duties of an appointment can exercise administrative or financial power, but he cannot exercise statutory powers, whether those powers are derived direct from an act of Parliament. Further stated that the Vice-Chancellor is trying to tamper rules and regulations to prolong his stay in the university, and he is trying to challenge the authority of the President of India. Professor Kumar further said that they will appeal to the higher authority to not allow extension of the incumbent Vice-Chancellor whatsoever. Professor Xavier Mao, president of Nehru Teachers Association, referred to the Vice-Chancellor's action as evil deed and messy, and considered the Vice-Chancellor as the worst ever Vice-Chancellor who had degraded the university to the lowest rank ever in the history of the university. Because of the Vice-Chancellor's action, the university is not able to function properly. This proviso is currently invoked by the ministry in order to permit Professor S.K. Srivastava to continue to hold the office after expiry of his term. The Meghalaya Confederation for Academic Welfare therefore with one voice expressed that the university need to ensure that Nehru gets a qualified Vice-Chancellor with academic excellence in line with matrilineal and cultural ethos of Meghalaya, as well as in line with academic excellence, so that the future generations are secured. In the context, a quick appointment of a qualified local tribal Vice-Chancellor who can bring much needed healing touch to the damages done by Professor Srivastava is an utmost necessity. The organizations here demand immediate fast-track completion of selection of Nehru Vice-Chancellor so that Professor S.K. Srivastava is defenestrated for saving the university from further ruin.
That how can an acting VC, by sitting in a chair and chairing a meeting, trying to change the statutes of Nehru, which are already approved by the parliament, in order to benefit himself? And that's where the crux lies, and that's where the worry is. I think every right-thinking citizen of Meghalaya should be worried. I think if as teachers of Nehru, as non-teaching staff, as students, as a genuine citizen of Meghalaya, as parents, as aunties, as aunts, as brothers, sisters, I think everybody has a stake in Nehru. And hence, the playing around of this VC has gone to an extent that he has really defied all norms, including the second point that we are trying to stress, where the visitor has given him an extension of 1 year or till a new VC is appointed. Now he is challenging this ordinance, that this statute change that he is going to bring in to AV doesn't exist. He wants to continue n numbers of time till a new VC is appointed, and he will try to play around and delay the appointment of through the search committee. But the question is that how can you challenge the authority of the visitor, of the President of India? President of India has given you an extension of 1 year or till a new VC is appointed. Now this very act of our Vice Chancellor is actually challenging the authority of the President of India. And that's where I think it's so important, and we really came to public because to make people aware of the fact that he is trying to play around and play all things that is going to let Nehu down to a greater extent. And hence, I think we all have to fight it. And that's where tomorrow in the Academic Council, when people will naturally fight, teachers will fight. But then in case he succeeds, because he has this habit of manipulating the final draft that is written as far as the resolution is concerned, he might still do it in spite of whatever discussion that goes on. We will, of course, approach the authority as and when required. But the important thing is that how can a Vice Chancellor change a rule that is going to benefit himself? And that's where I think it is highly illegal, I would say, because he has no authority whatsoever, like what Baro has already said. If you are on extension, you are not supposed to use your statutory power. And this is debarred by several rules beginning from maybe 1960s, and now the latest one being 2014, where it is clearly written that Vice Chancellor will not use their statutory power with, and when it comes to statutory power, we are referring to the power to change the acts, the statutes, the ordinances and the regulations that we have. And hence, he is supposed to be just a caretaker kind of Vice Chancellor who is supposed to do routine matters. But then because he doesn't want to go back to Manipur and continue his service, he wants to prolong his stay here in Nehu, and that's why probably he's trying to play all this dirty game so that he can extend it as long as he can till, and by doing so probably he's trying to delay, because he has all sort of nexus that we hear, and he's trying to delay the appointment of a new Vice Chancellor, which is going to affect the credential of Nehu, which is already going down. And in spite of the fact that, you know, in the last 5 years he has done nothing good for Nehu. Allowed to be with him, rest of them will join from their office or from home. There he gets a lot of chance to, you know, play around. He might say there is quorum, but you can't see, because only few members are invited to sit with him, the rest are online. And this, he's taking full advantage of COVID-19 and trying to have this meeting online so that he can actually pass any resolution, and he will say, oh, we didn't hear you, you suggested something we didn't hear, it was not noted down. Right. And that's how he's taking advantage of it. And we have already made a call, and we'll be doing even tonight, to all our members that they should firmly oppose. They should not boycott, because if they boycott, then he will say we had quorum and we have passed this resolution, because it's online. There is no record per se. And that's where I think it's important for our members that we said you must attend, and in one voice you must say that you should withdraw this agenda, whereby there is no amendment to the statutes 2A, because that is beyond his purview, beyond his power that he has been given as an acting Vice Chancellor. I think this message has got to, hopefully our members will really take up, so that, but then in spite of that, I'm saying that even if these members opposes, he might still say no. Many have agreed, because it's online, you really can't say, because those who are sitting, you may not be able to see what they are saying. And that's where I think he has taken full, like I said in the beginning, full advantage of COVID-19 and trying to do things that he really wants his way, rather than going by majority, because if you do it in person, you can see and you can raise objections. Of course, in spite of that, if somebody wants to do wrong, he can still do it, because after all, the minutes will be signed by the chairperson. And that's how I think we are apprehending, and we wish that it should not happen. And by evening, maybe if a letter comes from the ministry saying that no, you can't have the meeting, or you can have meeting minus this agenda, and then really things really ends. But then chances are very high that it may not come, because we don't know how quickly ministry will react, because we have sent it yesterday. So I don't know whether they had enough time to really deliberate on it. But then if a ministry is prompt, they would send immediately, they will send a mail either or a fax saying that you can't take this agenda, because you are, as per the provisions given for an acting Vice Chancellor, you cannot exercise that statutory power.
The difference between acting Vice Chancellor and a regular Vice Chancellor is that the regular Vice Chancellor has the full power to do for the development of the university, including the financial power, administrative power, and even statutory power. But an acting Vice Chancellor, his function is to take care of the routine matter, in order that university does not come to a grinding halt. So in order that the university should normally run for day-to-day routine matter, for that acting Vice Chancellor is there. But this Vice Chancellor, being the worst Vice Chancellor in our Nehu history, unfortunately, for the last 5 years, the whole of his tenure, we don't have even Chancellor who is supposed to be above him, to oversee him, to guide him, but Without him, he could do whatever he liked. And that is how he has really spoiled our university completely. And then the highest body of the university is the University Court Meeting. There are 2 MPs from Rajya Sabha, 4 MPs from Lok Sabha. Their tenures are already over, but this Vice Chancellor had never taken any step to inform the Lok Sabha Speaker and Rajya Sabha as chairman to take necessary steps to appoint them so that the highest body of the university should oversee what is happening in the university. But without taking any such step, this fellow is doing anything as he likes. And I am in a way feeling ashamed to share with the public the kind of evil deeds that he's really doing. Very, very messy. Unless the proper authorities are there, the university cannot function. University is supposed to be the highest educated body consisting of the highest degree, but how this Vice Chancellor has reduced to a very, very low level. So this is what we are really feeling very, very sorry.
Former Meghalaya legislator Ardent M. Basayomot said that he has not shifted his stance on the demand for implementation of inner line permit in the state. I am in favour of the implementation of inner line permit in Meghalaya for the protection of the indigenous communities, Basayomot said. Talking to the media as the demand for implement of inner line permit is gaining momentum, Ardent Basayomot was the former Chief Executive Member of Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council, expressed the need to have strong mechanism to influx into the state.
Well, you see, I don't see that the government is sincere enough for the implementation of inline permit on our state. Had the government is sincere enough to implement inline permit into our state, they would have done that without even going to the center. But what the government of Meghalaya had done, they adopted the resolution. In the first place, they allow the central government to remove the word Khasi Jaintia from the preamble of the Bengal Eastern Frontier regulation. And now they want to take everybody to demand inline permit system in Meghalaya, which is ridiculous according to my observation. If the government, as I've said earlier, is serious enough, we don't need such kind of an exercise, But the government can only prescribe by notification, a line that may be altered from time to time and implement ILP in our state. Because Khasi Jaintia was very much in the preamble, so there is no problem for the government to implement ILP. And if you go according to the Bengal Eastern Frontier regulation, it was mentioned very clearly that it shall be lawful for the state government to prescribe a line. So why the state government choose to go to Delhi? That is a question that we need to ask those who are in power.
When asked whether the influx in the state has increased or not in the state, Basayomot said the influx has definitely increased due to lack of proper mechanism to check it, he said.
You see, according to what we see, the inflow of outsiders into our state is increasing because there is no mechanism, there is no regulation. So the people can come and go without any restriction at all. So therefore, we feel that in order to protect, to safeguard the interest of the local engineers of the state, we badly need ILP to be implemented in our state.
When asked on the need to have another movement and other pressure tactics so that this demand could be achieved, Ardent M. Basayomot said,
yeah, of course, we need we need to organize a very strong demonstration or agitation in order to, send a very strong message to the government of India that
how can we allow the government of India to adopt a stepmotherly treatment towards Meghalaya when other northeastern states have been given? Why not Meghalaya?
On the safety of the citizen in the state, Dr. Sangma said the effective implementation of Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act is the best mechanism to check influx into the state. While expressing the need for implementation of ILP, Dr. Sangma said the entry and exit point in the state will not suffice on the ground that Meghalaya is having a long post border with Bangladesh. He reiterated that MSSRA should be effectively implemented across the state to ensure the safety of all the residents.
We have to be realistic and scientific. Now, with long, porous, interstate border with Assam, when we are talking about interstate entry-exit point to facilitate, whole filtering of the people who enter and exit the state, as per the mandate of the Meghalaya Resident Safety Security Act, we also have other rules which will not be covered. How do you take care of that? The Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act has a provision to address that concern. That even after anybody sneak into the state, they will not be able to reside in the state without actually providing all their credentials to the concerned authorities. And therefore, the provision in the Meghalaya Resident Safety Security Act is that any locality wherever a premises is rent out for any tenants must have all the measures put in place as per the mandate of the law, as per the mandate of Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act, to provide all the details about indicating the credentials of the concerned citizen who would like to take a space for rent, space on rent, whether it is for any business or any purpose of residence. And these measures which is required to be placed in different localities are designed in such a way that it involves our traditional institutions, our local authorities, in addition to the local police authorities. Meaning you have the complete involvement of the people themselves, so there is a complete check and balance mechanism, multi-layered way of filtering the credentials of the people who are entering. Keeping in mind, the massive challenge that we face in view of the illegal immigration in this part of the country.
Dr. Mukul Sangma, who is also the leader of opposition in the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly, strongly criticized the functioning of the present NPP-led Meghalaya Democratic Alliance government of being insensitive to the various issues pertaining to the state. He said the opposition Congress has apprised the government from time to time on the need to clear the salaries of the teacher and the employees of Garo Hills Autonomous District Council, and these suggestions have fallen into the deaf ears of the government.
Now, I forgot to say that we also discuss about non-payment of salary to the employees of the district council. Okay? Now, we also discussed about the areas of the government employees which were not paid, which were promised to be paid and never paid. So, you can easily interpret as to where the state is leading. I have said earlier also that that is only the tip of the iceberg. And I'm saying this is because government doesn't want to correct things. There are huge leakage of revenue taking place. And if you want to know more, forget about what the leader of the opposition and the opposition is saying. You look at the various representations which has been submitted to the government, to the authorities, to the DCs, to the chief secretaries, to the chief minister. One organization after another, but they decide to say that nothing wrong is happening, there is no irregularity.
A conglomeration of social organizations known as Meghalaya Confederation of Social Organizations today meet the Speaker of the Meghalaya, Metba Lingdo, and apprise him on the need for implementation of ILP and MSSRA. The chairman of COMSO, Robert June Karjaran, was assured by the Speaker that the UDP party will also play an effective role to ensure that this vital legislation is implemented in the state. Speaking to the media after the meeting with the Speaker, Robert June Karjaran said the UDP, being a major constituent in the formation of the Meghalaya Democratic Alliance, could also play an important role in the implementation of ILP in the state. He also expressed the need of all the members of the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly to support the Chief Minister, who will take up the issue of inner line permit with the Union Ministry of Home Affairs.
We met Shri Medba, not exactly as a speaker, since we know his role as a speaker, but importantly as the president of the UDP and also as a chairman of the RDA. You know, UDP and RDA play a very important role in this government. And to be very specific, it seems like they're the kingmakers. So they play a very important in this government, and they play a very important to rule the policy of the state as of now. So we met him with regard to CEA, ILP and MRCA amendment bill. So as you know, CEA, he clearly said that his party and his alliance has expressed in day one that they oppose CEA, and still they oppose it, and he said that he would like to see that the entire CEA is exempted from the state of Meghalaya. So I think that is we all are talking about from time and again. And with regard to the two relevant issue as of now, the ILP and MRSSA, he's very clear that he said that as a speaker, even though there was instruction that that not to give to every MLA to give a speech on the 19th of December last year on ILP resolution, he said that purposely he allowed everyone to speak so that the government of India know that yes, the MLA and the people of Meghalaya are demanding for ILP. And as you've seen, it was a unanimous resolution, and he said that his party has write letters to the Chief Minister asking him to pursue this matter aggressively. So he said that time and again he will do the same. And we have a prize with him that it seems like there is a need that perhaps all the 60 MLA, or if not, maybe all party delegation with independent, could go and meet the Prime Minister or maybe the Home Minister to clearly show that that Meghalaya is united when it comes to ILP. Of course, it's a fact what he said that yes, the resolution is already unanimous. So, but still we say that if all party delegation can go, or maybe all 60 can go, it will make an impact. With regard on this point, he said that he will leave the wisdom to the government. If the government want to pursue the matter, just as the government for now, that is okay. But if the government feel that if it's necessary, then they are ready to go and delegate with regard to the ILP. Oh yes, of course, we are more than just ready. If the CM or the ministers invite us to go along with them to Delhi, we will go. We are ready to go to apprise the Prime Minister or even the Home Minister on this. And we have also have a thought in mind that in case if there is no all party delegation to go to Delhi, if the 60 MLA did not go to Delhi, if the MP did not agitate in Delhi for this cause, I think we also have a plan in mind to even go and agitate in Delhi from COMSO.
So viewers, with that we have come to the end of today's edition. Thank you for joining us.